So I am sitting in my car. I just pulled up to the Atlanta Fibroid Center. This is going to be the beginning of a new fibroid journey for me. So I'm going to take you guys along. So I just left my doctor's appointment. First of all, I want to say that the doctors were very sweet and nice. I met with two of them to review my situation, and pretty much they cannot help me. The sad part is that I was hoping to go the least invasive route, and embolization was that route. However, my fibroids are too big and too numerous, and he was just like, the procedure wouldn't work. You will still look, bloated and pregnant. You won't look the way you want to look, and you probably will still feel the symptoms that you're having because you have so much going on. So I'm definitely sad. He recommended that I go see another surgeon. So I'm gonna make a doctor's appointment to see another surgeon. Hey guys, it's Lolita here, and I have decided to share my women's health journey. For many, many years, I have been very quiet. I never really tell people what goes on with my women's health issues. But today, I actually decided that it was time to open up and talk to you all and to share my journey in hopes that it can help someone else on their journey with what they're going through. After I left the doctor's office, as you saw in the previous video, I was literally sitting in the parking lot about to cry over what the doctor told me. And on the ride home, I felt 100% alone. That's the best way to describe it. I considered calling a couple of my friends to say, this is what the doctor just said, this is how I feel. However, I really didn't feel like they could understand what I'm going through right now. I feel like they would say, oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. All the things that friends are supposed to say, but in reality, they don't get it. They don't understand because this is not something that they can identify with. And I know if you're watching this video, you probably feel the same way. You feel that you are on this journey alone. It's embarrassing, it's painful, it's unpredictable, and you can't talk to anyone about it, right? So anywho, I decided to start doing videos to chronicle what I'm going through, and then in hopes to help other people out. So if that is something that you are interested in learning more about, continue to watch this video because I am about to go into details with what has been going on with me for the past 10 years, guys. It's been a very, very long time. Okay, guys, I am going to give you a very quick recap of my fibroid journey up to this date, and then I will tell you what I was told at the doctor's office today. So essentially, I believe I got diagnosed with my first fibroid probably in 08-ish, 07, 08-ish. At that time, my doctor said it was like 1 centimeter or smaller. There was no issue. She didn't recommend any type of interventions. So that was fine. I knew I had a little fibroid, and many people have fibroids, so I wasn't concerned about that. Fast forward to about, I would say, 8 years or so ago. I ended up having very heavy bleeding, which was like very concerning. And if you have fibroids or endometriosis out there, you understand that it was disturbing. So I went to my doctors and I was like, what the hell's going on? And so she was like, it's probably your fibroid has grown and you might have some other issues like endometriosis, but we really don't know. So, and she really didn't give me a lot of options at that time. And except that I was just going to be in pain, which was not okay with me. I ended up finding Dr. Best, and he is known for laser laparoscopic surgeries. And so his claim to fame is that he is one of the best doctors who does laser surgeries on the uterus and ovaries and things like that. So I wanted the least invasive procedure that would have still kept my uterus intact so I can have kids, essentially. Went to him. He ended up finding a lot of things wrong with me. We ended up discovering that I didn't just have one little fibroid, I had three. And they were located inside and outside the uterus. He also ended up finding out I had ovarian cysts. There was some issues with my fallopian tubes. And the possible endometriosis. So that is a lot that was going on at the time. He decided that the endometriosis was probably what was causing the majority of my pain and bleeding. So he wanted to work on that first and primarily. So I agreed, and he felt that the fibroids was not the issue to my infertility. So he didn't think that the fibroids were a big deal. So I went with my surgeon. He ended up doing the laparoscopic laser surgery. It was a very long procedure because I had a lot going on. It was either 6 or 8 hours. It was a very long procedure. And I do remember that after the procedure, he told me that he couldn't address every issue like the fibroids because I was under for so long. So I ended up, he said he shaved down some of the endometriosis. He removed the ovarian cyst, and then he opened up one of the fallopian tubes. And he thought that that was like a wonderful thing, and that my pain would decrease and my chance of infertility would increase and my bleeding would decrease and all that type of stuff. However, that was not the case. I still had the same amount of pain, still the same amount of bleeding, still didn't get pregnant. None of that stuff happened. He wanted me to come back for a second surgery, but I had just lost confidence at that time, and I just felt, once again, hopeless. And so I ended up using things, natural alternatives to help me with the pain and just everything that was going on, which have worked for years. So fast forward now to 2021, and I will be turning 40 this year, and I'm once again thinking, like, what am I going to do? Because nothing has changed in the past, 7 years or so. So I decided to start the process over now that I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and seek out some top doctors here to get their opinions on what's going on. So today I went to go see Dr. Lippman at the Atlanta Fibroid Center. And he's known for fibroid embolizations, minimally invasive, quicker recoveries. You can still have a child, according to him. Like, everything that he says, his website says, his staff says, sounded perfect for me because that's what I wanted. So I went and got a brand new MRI, and I had my consultation, and I went in today. So today I was told that things have not gotten better since my last surgery. They've progressively gotten worse. I now have so many fibroids, he couldn't count them. And I am not exaggerating. But the ones that he could clearly see on the MRI were really big. One was so big that we couldn't see all of it on the screen of the MRI. And then I can't even talk, but essentially, they range in size, but the biggest one, I think, he said he believes is around 11 centimeters, which is about 4 inches or so, which is kind of like from here to here. It's big, and they're big in my abdomen. And so I can literally put my hand on my stomach and feel them poking out. Like, that's how big they are. And sometimes I can't even sleep on my stomach because it's like you're sleeping on something. In addition, he said that the ovarian cysts are, I have more of those. I believe he said 2 or 3 more ovarian cysts. The endometriosis, of course, is still there. Yeah, there was a lot going on up in there. I wish I would have taken a snapshot of what it looked like, because you wouldn't believe it. Anywho, he told me that he couldn't help me. that's essentially what he said. He said that for the size of my fibroids, embolization wouldn't work, in his opinion. He felt that, one, cosmetically, because yes, my stomach can look huge. I have gotten to the point where I can camouflage it quite well. But I can walk around sometimes looking like I'm 6 months pregnant because I have all these fibroids in my abdomen. But he said that, one, for someone young like me, that's what he called it, we want the surgery so that we can look and feel better, right? We want our stomachs to be flat. We don't want to feel bloated. We don't want all that type of stuff. So he was like, because my fibroids are so big and there's so many, he doesn't feel like it would help cosmetically, because they would shrink, but he doesn't believe that they would shrink enough to make a difference. Number one. Number two, which is kind of like the same thing as number one, because they are so big and embolization helps to cut off the blood supply to shrink them. Mine are so big, he doesn't even necessarily think that the embolization would really cut off the blood supply all the way, and that the bleeding would improve. Like, he didn't really think that any of my symptoms would improve. He didn't think I would look any different. He didn't think it was a thing. And also because my fibroids are located inside and outside the uterus, and embolization is not good for certain type of fibroids. So essentially he felt that it was time for me to have another surgery, and this time it may not be laparoscopic. It just depends on the surgeon and what the surgeon thinks that he or she can do. So he gave me a recommendation for a couple of other surgeons to go see. So I'm going to work on getting appointments with them and seeing what they have to say, because I'm just so over this, guys. Like, I'm so over it. Like, I'm literally trying my best not to cry right now. This topic is so near and dear to me for so many reasons that it is painful to think that I don't know, like, it just won't turn out the way I want it to turn out. And I think a lot of women feel that way. We want it to be as simple as we can just take a pill or something and it'll get better, or we can change our diet, it'll get better, or we can drink some juice, it'll get better, or we can have like a little office procedure, it'll get better. But for situations like mine and thousands of other women's situations out there, it just doesn't get better. And the last option we want is like a hysterectomy, especially being so young. So, driving home today, all I could think about was, is this my fault? I think back to when I was a teenager and I ended up getting on birth control. I was like 16. And I'm thinking, and back then I had painful periods, and I was using the birth control not necessarily because of sex, but more so I didn't want to have painful periods. And the birth control lightened my periods or eliminated them. And I was so happy. So for 15 years or so, I was on birth control nonstop. And part of me thinks, like, was it the 15 years worth of birth control that messed up my womb? You know, is this my fault that I did this? Part of me also wonders, you know, 8 years ago when I had the first surgery, did I choose the wrong surgery? Instead of having the endometriosis laser surgery, should I have had the uterine fibroid removal surgery back when they were small? Or should I have had embolization back when it was just 3 fibroids and they were little? Did I choose the wrong path? I'm also spiritual. So part of me wonders, when I was on birth control for 15 years, I was essentially telling the universe I didn't want kids. So now that I do want them, is it too late? Guys, there's so much pain and questions that I have. And I know that other women feel the same way. And there's not much we can do about it. That's the sucky part. I can't go back and change anything. All I can do is deal with the hand that I've been given. But on a lighter note, since I have been dealing with this for like over a decade now, I do have some things that I do want to share with other women out there that have helped me, that have, you know, helped me over the years with the pain, with the self-esteem, etc. So, I'm going to sign off from this video for now, but I do plan on posting more women's health videos very soon. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video. And otherwise, check me out on Instagram, and I'll talk to you guys soon.